世界を滅ぼすすべての敵を。
Alright, so I'm not going to lie. Boruto Manga Chapter 77, Time Drawing Near, has got to be one of the most exciting ways the Boruto manga has started its run for any particular year. You know, when the manga started and, you know, persons were saying, oh, is Naruto dead or what was happening? That was exciting, but like this year, like, this has got to be like at least in the top 3 ways the Boruto manga has started for any particular year. Welcome everyone, Sanju Uchiha here, and yo, this chapter did sick. Listen to me, it just worked for a variety of reasons, honestly. And with that in mind, I have to give a shout out to one, the person that came up for the reaction stream a few days ago, of course. It went longer than planned, like 3 hours. So for the persons who want a more concise, you know, look into my thoughts for this chapter, this is your video. And of course, shout out to the previous chapters that some persons would have like been complaining about of it, you know, being too slow, we're not sure where it's going, are we waiting an entire month for a slice of life? Shout out has to go to those chapters, and especially the entirety of the code arc, because those chapters really form the foundation of what makes this chapter actually work so well. Plus, there is at least one tidbit in this chapter that works because of what other aspects of the Boruto franchise have kind of flirted with in terms of narrative. Himawari. So yeah, definitely. But let's get into it. So Boruto chapter 77 works for a variety of reasons. Like objectively, this has to be one of the best chapters we've gotten in recent times. And it's not that previous chapters were bad, but this chapter just worked on almost every level. So we continue this chapter off where chapter 76 left off, with Kawaki trying to speak with Momoshiki forcibly, trying to kind of put Boruto out of the way. It's like, yo, Momoshiki, come on, the dog. You see me? So the thing that I love about this first scene in the manga, or at least what makes it work, is the knowledge of certain characters in the scene like Shikamaru and Sumeri, who are fully aware that Kawaki actually killed Boruto before. So while characters like Sarada and everybody else are like, yo, you know, Kawaki, calm down fam, you're interrupting the mission, etc, etc, characters like Sumeri and Shikamaru know, given Kawaki's past in the last arc with Boruto, that this situation can go 100 to 100% very fast. Honestly speaking, given the nature of the fact that Momoshiki is still kinda ish alive within Boruto. So that's the interesting part, or what makes it interesting looking at it as a viewer looking in, given that some characters know this and some characters don't know this. So that was awesome, honestly. And what I also love about the scene and what made it work for me is Kawaki decides to stand down based on what Shikamaru said, given that Naruto as a character was really devastated when Kawaki killed Boruto, and Shikamaru reminding him about the look on his face when Boruto died. Kawaki decides to pack it up, leave the room, and head over to Naruto. Now this is awesome because I don't think Kawaki, when we just met him, would have done this. Honestly, I think Kawaki would have just went ahead and did what he wanted to do, or what he plans to do by the end of this chapter, from the get-go, if it wasn't for his development. Now, yes, it's easy to narrow it down to his appreciation and respect and love for Naruto, but even that's part of his development, and it shows in this chapter, which is what I love. Now, what's also awesome is them showing that Kawaki is becoming much more proficient with his abilities that he inherited via the karma, or as being an Otsutsuki, inheriting Momoshiki Otsutsuki's abilities and DNA. I love it because it's a show don't tell type of situation. He leaves the room, he leaves the mission, uses Sukuna Hikona to shrink himself, and then mask his chakra as an Otsutsuki to just kind of elude the sensory ninja and everybody that's on watch out on this mission with Eida and Daemon. And he just dips, completely dips, and I love it because, as I said, it's a show don't tell type of situation, and at the same time it shows that he's becoming much more proficient in his abilities inherited from Ishiki, and subtly it's implying that nothing really and truly is going to stop Kawaki from doing what he wants to do, because now he doesn't have to be the reactive agent he was when he lost karma. It's a reminder that he is in the driver's seat as one of the persons in Konoha who's at the top of the food chain power-wise, and kind of wants to make that morally great decision of doing, or at least a hard decision of doing what's necessary. So definitely love that aspect of that first scene in this chapter. Now moving on to Eida and Daemon when it comes on to this chapter, right? Because honestly, their presence in the chapter kind of helped to balance it in terms of all the seriousness, because we've got a bit of slice of life with Eida going out shopping and bringing Sarada and Samaria with her, and usually waiting a month to just get slice of life persons would complain, but when it's balanced in this chapter like this, it just works. It makes it kind of allows the chapter to, it gives it room to breathe, I would say. And honestly, breathe it did, but at the same time it didn't just like 100% breathe, because Eida reminded us in this chapter essentially that this alliance, honestly, it can break down at any point from, like, it's there's this subtle chaotic nature to this alliance where anything can pop off at any point in time, even though we're on your side right now. And I think it made the chapter all the better for it, because you know, having them here is like, we have this broken person that can like watch out and tell us what our enemies are up to at any point, but she still maintains her independence and autonomy at the same time. And depending on how we play our cards, we might still make an enemy out of her. So we still have to be very cautious in how we actually approach things with her, give her a level of doing what she wants to do without humbugging her, which is what Shikamaru essentially said to Boruto. Let's let her do what she wants to do, but you know, follow them around essentially. So that was awesome, not gonna lie, I love it. And with that subtle chaos there, it kind of gives rise to the opportunity of seeing how characters can be put in, it basically puts characters in a unique position where you have to use your brain, you have to actually write certain interesting dialogue to go around it. Overall, it just makes the manga much more engaging. And of course, this chapter is just reminding us that that's going to be the case for the foreseeable future, just another one of those subtle chaotic elements within the story at this point, which just makes it all the better. Now moving on, Code is the looming threat in the background. A lot of persons kind of feel 50-50 on Code, but no matter how you feel about him, his drip, yo, listen, I love that one panel of him in this chapter. Honestly, he man just looks sick, but his 10 Tails army is reaching ridiculous numbers as he's hit the 1,000 subscriber mark and going beyond that, and Eida makes Shikamaru aware of that. Now right now, Code isn't necessarily the immediate threat, the immediate issue we have to deal with, which would be Kawaki, but he's that looming super chaotic element in the background that has the potential of drawing in all 5 nations into the easy cliche answer of the 5th great ninja war. And the potential that has is ridiculous, because we can see a number of other narrative elements potentially coming back in when it comes down to the future of the story, whether it be other Kages, other nations. I mean, it's the potential 5th great ninja war, or just overall the entire annihilation of the of Konoha. But Code can actually, he decides not to invade because Eida is aware and he wants to take us by surprise. So it's going to be interesting to see how Code is going to get around this, and it makes the story potentially similar to the chaotic nature of Daemon and Eida, like I was mentioning before. It kind of puts, from a writing perspective, you know, makes it that much more, it forces the writer to put Code in a situation where he has to become more creative in how he's going to go about things, or at least watching out for an opportunity to invade. So that's going to be interesting. And of course, it reminds us of the stake and tension when it comes down to Code, or at least makes it rise all the better, all the more. So I mean, Code himself is ridiculously powerful, but you know, given who's on our side, quote unquote, right now, he can be dealt with. But with this growing army, the stakes and the tension is rising in the background, and once it does pop off, then anything can happen. So definitely love that about this chapter too. Now, when it comes on to Himawari in this chapter, let me kind of come up close. Himawari, when it comes on to the Boruto manga, hasn't had a lot of screen time or a lot of build up, but when it comes on to other areas in the Boruto franchise, like the anime, or the specials, like the day Naruto became Hokage, or whatever the case may be. They've always shown us or flirted with the fact that when she snaps, she has that potential to be a ridiculously powerful ninja. But I think what Kishimoto did with this chapter is play off that, but add another layer to it with this chapter, so that we, the audience, can be that much more interested. So it's not just a case of, oh, finally they're doing something with Himawari, she has this potential to be an awesome ninja. No, it's more than that. And I think that's what persons really appreciate when it comes on to this chapter, because you have to look at it from a power scaling standpoint, right? We have Daemon cloning on Boruto as usual, and the girls are shopping. And we have Daemon, a character that is stronger than Naruto, stronger than Sasuke, even at their peaks, stronger than Ko, stronger than Jigen. He's ridiculously powerful, arguably the strongest person there right now. And you have him like, yo, I'm the baddest thing since sliced bread. But wait, I'm sensing somebody's bread that's better than 5 sides. So this man runs out, sees Himawari, who's coming from shopping, and tries to attack her as a test. Boruto comes out and says, yo, she's not a shinobi, she just knows to fight, or anything like that. And Daemon's like, oh really? But what's with this intensity that I'm feeling from her? She should have easily been able to dodge my attack. So that in itself is one big breadcrumb, one big narrative thread that they're introducing, another side to the story, another potential side to the story that is going to need to be explored. Because if someone like Daemon, who's part Otsutsuki as well, is saying this about Himawari, what does that say about her potential? Probably being the Gohan of the series. And obviously I have some theories, whether it be reincarnation of Kaguya, which is probably out there, or the fact that Naruto and Hinata got chakra from Kaguya's sons, and they came back together, literally. What does that mean for Himawari potentially? So it's more than just being a skilled shinobi. It has to be something Otsutsuki related, or Otsutsuki on that level, to warrant Daemon coming in and say, yo, no, you're amazing, you're there's this intensity about her, there's something about her, I've got to test out myself. I mean, it matters, it's a big deal because of the characters involved, or of the character involved, which is Daemon. So right now the story is really and truly setting up with chapter 77 a lot of things, and even though this is one tidbit, one section of the chapter, it's a very big deal, honestly speaking, and it makes me look forward to the future of Boruto all the more. Because if, as Momoshiki said, Boruto has strongly inherited the Otsutsuki, more or less paraphrasing here, why not Himawari too? And what could that mean for the story going forward? What could that mean in the dynamic of, or the future for her character once the time skip comes? Potential. So awesome stuff, if I do say so myself. Now, that aside, we have the final scene of the chapter. Kawaki speaking with Naruto and Hinata. And honestly, what makes this scene work, I think, is the slow escalation of Naruto and Hinata realizing what Kawaki is saying by the end there, when he reveals that his whole goal is to kill all the Otsutsuki, and that includes Boruto. And this scene was simply amazing, right? Especially because of the foundation of what was established between Kawaki and the Uzumaki family before. And it goes deeper than that. Well, not deeper, but it's there's something parallel to it. Because my thing with this scene is that you can look at it two ways, right? And we have to include the anime for this. Kawaki seems to be talking from an informed standpoint of course, his experiences with the Uzumaki family, with Shinobi, and with Otsutsuki. If you're talking from the anime perspective, I think once it gets to this point, it's going to hit that harder in terms of Alright, the payoff is going to be better given the nature of what Kawaki has experienced in anime only arcs or mini arcs, because he speaks to the fact that shinobi are no match for Otsutsuki, that shinobi are going to die early when it comes on to dealing with the Otsutsuki, and there's not much that they can do. I mean, it's obvious that he's speaking from his experiences in the Mist Village, or that one mission he went on with that kid that, you know, that died, etc, etc. Obviously he's speaking from an informed standpoint of those personal experiences he has had when it comes on to the anime's perspective, in addition to, of course, the canon elements from the manga being adapted into the anime as well. So from that side of the coin, I think this scene is going to hit harder in the anime. Manga wise, there's still credit you can give to it, because at the end of the day, he has felt powerless for a decent amount of time when he lost Karma. He's looking at the Otsutsuki who have come to the village and who have had their way, and I think at the end of the day, especially what he said to Naruto when he just came into the house, of the fact that shinobi, they're useless, in the sense that they couldn't sense me. I just got in here and did what I wanted to do, essentially speaking. And of course, not to mention how he viewed things when it comes down to training as a shinobi. That's part of it as well. So all of these things are kind of adding to the fuel, or adding to his viewpoint of he needs to do what he needs to do using his Otsutsuki abilities, honestly speaking. And everybody around him aren't going to make the hard choice. So I think what this scene solidifies is that, like how a lot of persons have already deduced, Kawaki is just going to be that morally gray antagonist or villain who's going to be doing what he feels to do, what he feels is right, even if it goes against what other characters morally agree or disagree with. So that's the thing that I love about this scene. It's just a re-establishing, or finally solidifying his convictions and the nuance to it, given the experiences he's had in this story up until this point. That's just it just signifies that his conviction isn't coming out of nowhere. There is a lot of experiences that we the viewers have seen with him that can allow us to empathize with him and see where it's coming from, which makes his development and him in this scene all the better, because as he himself even said in the scene, he's not like pissed off, he's not angry, he's not out of his mind, but he just firmly believes his convictions and what he has to do is right, essentially, because no one else is going to do it. So I love that scene, and just the emotional, you know, the emotions coming out of it. You know, you're telling a mother that you're essentially going to take her son's life in front of her. So Hinata getting that reaction and slapping him, amazing, honestly. So yeah, amazing. And of course, once they do realize it, Naruto's like, yo, I can't let you do this, you're gonna have to kill me first. And then Kawaki does what he hinted at doing when this series started. He sent the Hokage away, and Hinata, surprisingly, using his, well, his Otsutsuki abilities. He's just transporting Naruto away to where we don't know. But honestly, the fact that he's done that, it just signifies that we're coming full circle to, or we're in that era. We're almost at that point where we're getting to the time skip, and that in itself is, even if we're not there yet, it's still a major payoff for the persons who stood with this story from chapter 1 until now. And all of that just really and truly makes this first chapter for 2023 Boruto amazing. Honestly, it's just payoff, the nuance, the reinforcement of like so many things, starting new mysteries when it comes on to Himawari. Yo, the chapter was just awesome, and it worked for a lot of reasons. Granted, I know, you know, Kawaki's on his Eren Yeager arc. I'll destroy them all. So yeah, but all in all, I think I've rambled on long enough. This chapter was amazing. I can't wait to see what happens next and how other characters are going to, you know, react to this. What's going to be the response? What's going to happen next? Because, you know, I think a good chapter usually has us asking questions and theorizing. And with Naruto out of the way and Kawaki kind of taking charge and code in the background and all these chaotic elements at play, anything can happen. And it kind of feels like the story now it feels like Boruto's story has truly begun with Naruto out of the way. So 2023 Boruto is gonna be amazing. But anyway, Sanjay Uchiha here, guys. Thanks for listening to my more concise thoughts on what made this chapter work for the most part. Hope you guys have an awesome weekend. I'll see you in the next one.